Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Pattsun, and today we're going to be taking a look at r/relationship advice, where OP is still here. Why? My wife admitted to desires to pursue an ex, and we have 2 kids together. Posted by Reddit user Jolt314.
So I realize that desire isn't as bad as actually cheating, but I feel like it has had the same impact on me. TLDR, wife admitted to desires for an ex, but now I don't know how to trust her or get back to where we were or if there is a future together. Is there a way to build trust back? It started around January. My wife brought up the idea of polyamory as a what-if scenario. I told her I didn't really know what to think but said we should talk about it. Time goes on. She has invested in a book and becomes extremely engrossed in the topic, spending all her nights after the kids are in bed reading about it. I started to sense something was up and confronted her in February, asking if there was someone else in the picture. She said she had feelings for her ex, who she happened to see during a trip for a friend's wedding. I should add, they have had an ongoing friendship for years and occasionally talk on the phone over the years. He is also married, and unhappily, they had some dinners together during the trip. She says nothing happened and I trust her, but she says that he always talks about how smart and beautiful she is and I don't do it enough. I get that. We've been married over 10 years. He doesn't have kids and has lots of free time and a bit of a bad boy, which she finds attractive too. Obviously, for us having 2 kids, I'm the stable guy and my energy and time is limited with work and 2 challenging kids to focus on. We don't really have readily available babysitting services to go on date nights very often, but realize we need to do more of this too. Personally, I feel betrayed by her lie by omission. I don't know if I can trust what she says anymore. Even worse, she feels she has done absolutely nothing wrong in any of this. She tells me she still wants to be with me, but I worry it's only because of the kids and the financial stability that I bring. If I said yes to polyamory, I figure she would have been on the next plane over to see him. The worst part of this is that she did cheat on her previous husband when she was married at age 25. I gave her the benefit of the doubt back then that she was young and immature, and her husband at the time did not want to go to therapy to discuss it. Now I wonder if she might have been telling the whole truth from back then. We've been in therapy for years for various topics and obviously went back for this issue. I'm not sure it's working. I think in large part, it's because she promised herself she would not cheat again. And this time, though she's obviously leaning in the same direction, this time she is trying to normalize infidelity with polyamory. So rather than accept any blame, she's pushing the blame onto me for not treating her well. I acknowledge some of this is on me too. I should add that she acknowledges she has a Disney view of romantic marriages, and I don't know how to tell her that a long-term relationship should be calm and stable. Marriage is not a honeymoon period all the time after 10 years, especially with 2 young kids. But she says she doesn't know how to reconcile the feelings she has for the ex. When she admitted there was someone else, I brought up the idea of divorce as I thought to myself, if she wants to see other people, she may as well do it as a single person because I realized that lifestyle is not for me. This set her off, primarily because of her past divorce, but also because of how it would upend our lives. I've backed off from that since then with the intention to go to therapy, but I'm still worried. Sorry for the slightly disorganized post. Is there a way to get trust back? At what point do you consider it quits? Any support or advice you can share is appreciated. Thank you.
OP, you were supposed to call it quits the very moment that you learned that she cheated on her past husband. Yet you did the donut move, and look what happened to you.
Why are you still here?
She would already be out of the house if she were my wife. She has 0 respect for you, 0 love. Did you even spend 2 seconds thinking about this man? Something definitely happened on that wedding trip. If they were alone that many times, trust me, they would have definitely had sex, at least once. Come on, OP. She just wants permission to cheat so she doesn't have to take responsibility. Kick her out and go talk to a lawyer. You need to be better than this. Grow a spine. And now for today's second story. Can't stop asking out underage girls? I'll get you fired. Geez, only fired? You should have sent him to prison, OP.
So, I just started this job bartending at a restaurant about a month ago. One of the first people I met was Zane. He started hitting on me immediately, asked me for my number and to go out with him multiple times. I finally gave in because I haven't been on a date in a while and he's not bad looking. We go on this date and I can tell off the bat he's very misogynistic and just plain weird, talking about how girls have it easier than guys and stuff like that. At one point I made a joke about how I look pretty and he hasn't complimented me. But it was very clearly a joke. And he retorts with, "I didn't know you were the type of girl that needs male validation." Definitely not joking. I just gave him the side eye. And then he goes on to tell me I look pretty and tries to make it seem like it was a joke. I just brushed it off because our food had just come out and we had a lot of time left on this date. We end up going mini golfing and he's very frustrated the whole time, getting legitimately angry that he can't hit the ball in the hole. He keeps making these grunting noises and frustrated sighing, whispering under his breath about how annoying it is. I tried to keep things lighthearted, but it really ruined the mood for me. I won the game, of course. He also talked a big game, but when it came to the date, we split everything pretty much 50-50, and he didn't even pick me up, which I wouldn't normally mind, but he kept making it seem like he was taking me out, as if we hadn't done everything equally. After the date he goes, "This was fun. I don't regret it." And I'm like, okay, why would you even say that? And he goes, "Yeah, know how a lot of guys will say they regretted it afterwards." Well, I don't. I've never had a guy say he regrets going out with me. I don't know. The whole thing was just weird and I decided I wouldn't be going out with him again. But I'm not an awkward person and I can keep things cool and casual. So I was never mean to him and still tried to joke around with him and stuff at work. But eventually, he gets it through his head that I don't like him romantically and he starts to be really rude and condescending. Well, I ended up finding out that he asked out our coworker, 17, who's still in high school. He also had a talk with our GM about sexual harassment, since he had a thing for hitting on the girls relentlessly and touching the boys inappropriately. But nothing really came of it. Now, I'm a grown woman and I can handle myself, but when it comes to sexually harassing minors, I have absolutely no chill. I was shaking with anger. I ended up telling the other underage girls not to let him touch or talk to them, and I set up a meeting to talk with our manager about it. It was about a 45-minute conversation where I laid out all of my grievances. I told them if they wouldn't do something about it, then I was going to HR, the owner, and the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. My manager called up all of the other girls to get their side of the story. I ended up finding out that he also asked out 3 other underage girls, 15, 16, and 16, basically telling them not to say anything and trying to hide it from everybody else. And he's tried hitting on 2 out of 3 of our managers, all women. I was even told he got excited hearing that the 15-year-old was only a freshman in high school. They fired him the next day. I was told he tried playing the victim, saying that everyone was making these things up and we were all out to get him. None of us conspired on these stories. The only girl I ever even work with is the 17-year-old. I've met the 15-year-old once and rarely talked to the 16-year-old. Apparently, he also got fired from his last 2 jobs for harassment too. I'm so happy that he got fired and I had the willpower to stand up to someone like him. I was taken advantage of at a young age, and I was not about to sit by and watch it happen to anyone else if I could do something about it. I rarely have a reason to say this, but I'm proud of myself. TLDR, I found my coworker asked out several underage girls after going on a date with him, and I got him fired.
Very well done, OP. Hopefully someday he asked the wrong person out and gets the shit beaten out of his ass. Or better yet, gets sent to prison. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen, never ever date inside a group of people you have to deal with every single day. If things go south, it will be absolute hell. It's so weird to me that people want to shit where they eat. I have worked at places where I was attracted to my female coworkers, and sometimes it's reciprocal, but I would never ever do anything about it because it's the place that I work. All of us were there for one thing only, and that's to do our jobs and get paid. And now for today's final story. Me and my girlfriend had a rough night, and I'm not sure what it means. Posted by Reddit user ThrowRAGF Help.
To be honest, I've been getting really worried about my girlfriend. We've been together a little under 3 years and I love her. Last night, she had something of an episode. I'm not sure if this is the correct way to put this. It started with her being unable to sleep and asking me to do things for her to help her fall asleep. I often read her Am I the Asshole stories, but by this point it was long past midnight. She usually goes to bed around 10:30 to 11 for early classes, and I was too tired and had read to her for around a half hour. It then progressed to her kicking at the sheets, poking my sides to get a reaction, and asking progressively weird questions. I had told her I was too tired and wanted to sleep, which only put her off for about 2 minutes before asking if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Pretty much most of the questions were this or something more in line with the "would you still love me if I was a worm" meme. This continued until about 1:15 when she asked me how I lost my virginity. For context, I was her first partner and she was not mine. This question came from a deep place of insecurity, which is understandable, of course, but it was deeply uncomfortable. She followed up by asking increasingly specific questions about it. Where did it happen? Was I on top? How long did I last? Did I get her off too? I know it's natural to be curious about this, but every time I'd answer she'd say something about how she's going to be sick. If I didn't answer she'd start twiddling her feet, biting her nails or something like that. The entire time my stomach was at my feet, and I felt like she was just bashing her head into a wall with the whole line of questioning. This morning, she hasn't said a word to me besides that she's going to her parents' house, which we were going to do for Easter regardless, that she doesn't want me to come with her and that she needs some space. I'm really at a loss on what to do here. It's been 4 years since the events in question, and I haven't spoken to that person in an equally long time. We were friends before our relationship, and she knew about this happening at the time. Is there any specific steps I can take to help her with her anxiety, sleeplessness, or otherwise open a line of dialogue? Also, I copy and pasted this because my first throwaway didn't have throw R in it. It looks like it made some of the spacing weird. Sorry, thanks. TLDR, my girlfriend had a rough night that involved a lot of anxiety-driven questions about my past, and now she won't talk to me. How do I open a line of dialogue to help understand what's going on?
So, she's insecure over the fact that you've had sex with other people. She asked the questions that she didn't want the answer to, and now she's paying the consequences. OP, you did nothing wrong, and you shouldn't feel guilty for having partners before her, but you may want to heavily suggest that she sees a therapist. If this continues on, your entire relationship is gonna be finished faster than my bedroom stamina. God damn, maybe that's why I'm single. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.